Welcome to Popcorn Playback. Today we recap the thriller horror film from 2015 called Even Lambs Have Teeth. Spoilers ahead. In the beginning of the movie, two best friends, Katie, who is very strict, and Sloane, who is always getting into trouble, are excited about a trip out of town they are going on together. They will work for a month at a farm called Ecofield Organic Farms so they can save enough money to go shopping in New York City. The next morning, Katie's uncle Jason, who is a police officer, picks them up. They spend the night at Jason and his girlfriend's place before going to the farm. As they got used to their new home, Sloane suggests that they make up fake names to use while they are there. Katie thinks of the name Ripley, while Sloane thinks of the name Heather. The next day, Uncle Jason drives them to a bus stop, where they catch a bus to the farm. As their protective cop uncle, Jason tells them they should come up with a safe word in case they get in trouble. The deal is that at the end of every text, they have to send a secret word. In other words, Jason asked Katie to send him a new secret word every day in the order of the alphabet. Apple is the safe word of the day. After the uncle leaves, the two still have to wait for the bus, which is due in about an hour. They decide to wait at a cafe. Two people in the town notice them right away, and they end up sitting at the same table with them. The two women then say their fake names they made up the night before, and the two men says their names are Jed and Lucas and that they are brothers. The boys offer to drive them to work, and even though Katie doesn't want to at first, she gives in when Sloane asks her to. The two get into the young man's blue truck in the end, but things don't work out as planned. Katie and Sloane work on a farm that Jed always walks by on purpose, which confuses the two women. And finally, they get there. Jed and Lucas's shady mother greets the two women and asks them to have some tea before they go to the farm. Katie's uncle, who is a police officer, sends her a text message as soon as they get inside. Using the safe word they had decided on, she lets him know she is okay. While this is going on, the two of them eat some pie and drink some tea, which they probably shouldn't, but do anyway. It turns out that there are drugs in their drinks, which makes their vision blurry. As soon as they realize something is wrong, they run for their lives. Jed and Lucas, however, are able to knock them out and carry them back inside. Katie and Sloane are scared and chained up in the middle of the woods the next day. Jed walks up to them and tells them that they will now be living here. He gives them clothes, a bed, and a toilet so they can stay alive. Katie and Sloane are now dressed for the next scene. Jed's boss, Boris, comes in and takes Katie's phone to see if anyone knows where they are. At this point, he finds out that Katie and Sloane lied about their names and the code word she used in the text message. Katie and Sloane have to finally tell him that apple is a safety word. Katie and Sloane are getting ready to take a bath with homemade showers as the town sheriff walks up with his gun drawn. It turns out that the sheriff is a piece of crap who supports human trafficking, and he has come to rape one of them. After the bad sheriff has had enough, Sloane goes to Katie, who looks scared, to calm her down. On the other side of town, Katie's uncle Jason is getting worried because the safe word she used yesterday is in the last text she sent him. Back in the woods, Jed and Lucas meet another customer who will call Scruffy Guy from now on. He then takes Sloane by the hand and brings her into the trailer. It's not a big surprise that Scruffy Guy's a little bit crazy. Back to the cop uncle, he finally calls Sloane at Katie's workplace and finds out that they didn't go to work yesterday. He thinks they are in trouble, so he runs to find them. Sloane and Katie's day is about to get even worse, though, because the next customer is even more sketchy than the last one. As the next customer walks up, Jed and Lucas rush to cover their heads. Sloane is picked up by a guy in a pig mask who takes her inside the trailer. Now that he's gone, it's Katie's turn to calm down Sloane. We're not sure what the guy in the pig mask did to Sloane, but she seems even more disturbed than before. In the next scene, Uncle Jason goes to the sheriff's office and runs into the town's wicked sheriff, whom we've already seen. Here, we find out that Uncle is not just a police officer, but also an FBI agent. He said that he is worried and is sure that his niece has been taken. To make the story even more interesting, the FBI uncle tells the sheriff that he knows they're in trouble because Katie didn't use a new code word in her last text message. Back in the woods, it's clear that the sheriff has told Katie's kidnappers that her uncle is an FBI agent and that she lied about the safe word. Boris, their boss, doesn't want the FBI to look into their business, so he tells Jeff to kill them both and throw their bodies away. Katie is listening in on their talk, but they don't know it. During this, the FBI uncle chooses to go to the cafe where he dropped Katie and Sloan off the last time. Then he asks what the barista knows. The barista knows exactly what kind of truck Katie and Sloan were driving when they left. The next day, Katie tells Sloan that the kidnappers want to kill them just before the kidnappers and scruffy guy shows up. Then, they leave the scruffy guy behind to keep an eye on them. Katie uses this chance to try to get close to him, and when she does, she rips his throat out with her teeth. Then, the two women start to break free off their chains. Soon after that, the sheriff shows up, probably to kill them, but as soon as he gets out of the car, Katie and Sloan steals it. When they got back in town, the two women go to the hardware shop to get ready. Now, something really bad is about to happen. Then, they ask the cashier if he knows Boris, the man with the blue truck, and the cashier tells them where he lives. On the other side of town, Uncle Jason is continuing his search by going to the town's car insurance building today. He makes up a story about how he hit a blue car by chance and then asks who owns it. Boris, who is in charge, just gets home. Katie and Sloan have snuck up on him and hurt him badly by throwing a bunch of tennis balls with nails in them at him. Now that he's on the other side, Boris begs for his life and even offers his money in exchange for not being killed. Uncle Jason pulls up right then in front of Boris's house. When they got back inside, Katie and Sloan starts asking him about the man in the pig mask. When Boris refuses to tell them, Katie and Sloan uses a sphere they made to kill him by sticking it up his backside. When Uncle Jason finally gets to the house, Katie and Sloan seems to have left and he sees Boris on his deathbed. Then Jason hears the roar of cars, so he runs outside in rage. Katie and Sloan gets in their car and leave, while Uncle Jason takes Boris, who is dying, to the hospital. In the next scene, Uncle Jason is told by the police that Boris did not make it. Uncle Jason is getting more and more worried, so he chooses to call Katie's phone, but then, when the sheriff sees that his secret is out, he pulls out his gun. Katie and Sloan drives up to a church, and we find out that the guy in the pig mask is actually the town's priest. Sloan walks into the church and runs right into the man who raped her. The two best friends beat the jerk with Katie's help. We can see that Katie and Sloan are happy and relaxed as they drive away. But when they stop the car and get out, they find that the guy in the pig mask, who they call the priest, has been chained to the back of the truck the whole time. As a final blow, they cover him in gasoline and sets him on fire, then drive away. Uncle Jason is now being held by the police, while the two women seems to be doing well. Worse still, it looks like the sheriff has taken two more young women. Katie and Sloan have to come help, which is a good news. They tie up the sheriff and then play Russian roulette with him as a way to hurt him. Now we can see that the two women are a bit off, but I guess we can really blame them. When Katie finally kills him with a blow to the head, the sheriff is already saying how sorry he is. Katie and Sloan then set the women free and tell them to set Uncle Jason free. Jason tries to ask the women to kill the sheriff, but they won't say because Katie and Sloan saved their lives and they're thankful for that. Next, Katie and Sloan go to Jed and Lucas's mother's house and plan to drug her the same way she drugged them a few days ago. They tie her up and take her to the basement, where Jed is also tied up and gagged. They use baseball bats to hit him in the head while his mother is made to watch. Next, they tie her up to a chair and take her to Lucas, who is also tied to a chair. But instead of hitting him until he died, they let him go, gave him a bat, and told him to beat his own mother. When Lucas says he doesn't want to, they kill him. The two women then arrange his body to make it look like he killed himself. It turns out that they want to blame him for all the killings. The mother is so scared that she offers them money if they will save her life. But instead of leaving her alone, Katie grabs the lawnmower and killed her in a cruel way. In the next scene, Katie's Uncle Jason comes to pick her and Sloan up from Katie's house. It looks like some time has gone by. Katie and Sloan are taken to the airport and they are excited to go to New York City. Okay, that's all for the recap for Even Labs Have Teeth. Thank you for watching.